My sister Tracy is the one who said to me, Toni, you know, when you make it, you can help us come on. So I always try to abide that. But the responsibility of it is so heavy for me. I feel I can never live my life, and I never used to say it. I never used to say anything to anybody, but since we've been doing this show, I've been saying.
Y'all, since the Braxtons returned to our screens, it's been nothing but drama. Evidently, these sisters cannot get along, and although there's something new coming out every day about them, reportedly Toni has been talking about how fed up she is, and how she's actually had to carry the rest of her family on her back for years.
13 or 14, my mom, she had a really bad accident. She fell. And her back was really messed up, so she was in hospital a long time. And so I was a surrogate parent for a moment.
Where was Dad?
Working, had to make a living, had 6 kids.
So what would it look like for you if it were different? If you didn't have that responsibility and if they weren't leaning on you, what would your life look like? What would you be doing?
Well, I would have soared higher.
You think so?
Absolutely.
Now, there's no doubting that Toni is the most successful Braxton. With 7 Grammys to her credit and 70 million records sold, Toni is really one of the most successful ladies R&B musicians of all time. She began singing with her sisters in the Braxtons in the late 80s, then signed for a solo album, Toni Braxton, released in 1993, and it was an immediate smash, jumping to #1 on the Billboard 200 and selling 10 million copies. The highlight singles, Breathe Again and Another Sad Love Song, also helped fuel the record, whose producers included Babyface and Antonio L.L. Reid. Toni subsequently followed up her debut with another blockbuster album, Secrets, which contained the single Unbreak My Heart. The track sold 10 million copies worldwide, ranking as one of the biggest singles ever released. She has really made 9 studio albums, the latest recent releasing in 2020, and all of them have been fairly successful. With Toni generating all this money early on, she had to take care of her whole family and meet most of their financial demands. And it wasn't easy for her. She's really spoken about how she was the one who had to take care of things while her other sisters took a back seat.
Mommy and Daddy's divorced, and a divorced mom pretty much got nothing. I'm not gonna leave my mom by herself. So I'm gonna make sure my mother's taken care of. None of my siblings have helped me take care of my mother to make sure she was okay, except for Tamar. No one said,
This is before Vincent.
Before Vince, Mommy's car insurance is due. Let's help Toni with Mommy car insurance. Only Tamar.
This is before Vincent, before Vince, Mommy's vehicle insurance is due. Let's assist Toni with mother car insurance. Basically, what Toni was saying was that although Tamar is a whole journey, she was assisting their mother long before she was affluent herself. While the other sisters essentially said, well, Toni got it, she can do it. And what disturbed Toni even more was that while she was the Siwas herself, while the other sisters basically said, well, Toni got it, she can do it. And what irritated Toni even more was that although she was the one taking care of things financially,
On top of that, when you do shows, you still charge her. I don't charge her. When the last time have I charged you for a show?
Tamar
It's been
hasn't charged you
years.
for a show for years. My sister Tamar never charges me to do background singing for me. My sister Trina does. My sister Tawanda, she's an executive assistant. That makes sense for her to get a salary. I just wish every situation was not about Toni's savings and loans.
I have never charged Toni. And what I'm saying is it pissed me off. When I saw that you and Tawanda get paid, I was pissed off.
okay, I realized that Trina deserved to be rewarded for the decades of backup singing she provided for Toni. She had herself and 2 kids to take care of, and every time she had to sing for Toni, it was taking time away from her doing something else that may have brought her money for herself. But the difficulty, according to Toni and Tamar, was that even with her being paid, she wasn't pulling any weight financially, and Toni still had to be the provider.
It's okay. It's okay. I got you.
I don't want to talk about that, man.
But it's the truth.
You know what else was even more devastating? While Toni was largely the breadwinner of the family, she also had financial troubles of her own. I mean, despite all of the success, which included producing more than $170 million, 0 cents, in record sales for her record company, Toni Braxton filed for bankruptcy more than once. The truth is, she was making millions for her record company, Aristelle Face, yet she earned less than 35 cents each album. She even filed a lawsuit against her label, and in January 1998, 8 weeks after launching the complaint against the label, Toni also filed for bankruptcy. Then later she stated that she filed bankruptcy owing to recording contract complications that resulted to her earning less than $2.00 in royalties and having to compensate her record company for clothing, travel, studio time, and music video expenditures. Her condition was so poor that at one time Toni was suspected of unlawfully transferring $53,490.00 to her husband, Kerry Lewis, in order to avoid paying back creditors in her bankruptcy case. Remember, she also did the interview with Oprah, and although she believed the interview was going to make people a bit sympathetic to her financial predicament, the interview turned out to be a very embarrassing and unpleasant experience for Toni Braxton, who felt that Oprah was judgmental, condescending, and unsympathetic.
Welcome, Toni Braxton!
She's so freaking mean to me. I was in shock.
Do you take responsibility for the situation that you're in right now?
100%.
100%.
100%. I couldn't believe it because I loved her so much. I admired her and looked up to her. And she pretty much reprimanded me.
I read that you were upset about stories that your overspending caused this.
She says to me, I hear you have Gucci flatware. I'm Oprah Winfrey and I don't have Gucci flatware.
First of all, I didn't know Gucci made silverware.
You ain't got Gucci flatware because you didn't want to buy it. It's not because you couldn't afford it. What do you mean? And immediately, she made me feel this big. This big. That moment completely changed my career. It made people look down on me.
At the time, there were also rumors that Oprah purposefully humiliated Toni on her program and tipped off her record company about what she was intending to do. I mean, there's a source that actually claimed Toni Braxton filed for bankruptcy in the middle of a contract negotiation. It looked horrible for LaFaye since Braxton had sold more than 16 million albums. When Braxton went on the Oprah Winfrey program to address the bankruptcy, Winfrey contacted LaFaye and said, "Toni's on my program today. She means to make you guys appear incredibly horrible, but I believe it's screwed up, so watch the program." Anywho, Oprah and her supposed deceitful methods aside, in 2010, Toni filed for bankruptcy again, but this time it was because she was diagnosed with microvascular angina and later lupus, which prompted her to terminate her lucrative Las Vegas contract.
Like a lot of people don't understand, my second bankruptcy was because I was sick. I have lupus, and my show in Vegas got canceled.
And the insurance wouldn't cover
The
it.
insurance didn't cover it, so I had to pay myself. And so
That's a lot. That was a lot of money.
It was a lot of money to put up a show. People don't understand this. If you see a concert, you see the lights, you see the band on stage. The artist pays for all that. The hotel rooms, the salary. So then you have nothing left over.
That was a lot of money to put on a spectacle. People don't realize if you watch a concert, you see the lights, you see the band on stage, the artist pays for all that. The hotel rooms, the wages, so then you have nothing left over. Now apparently when their show resumed, the sisters were having troubles with money and couldn't understand why Toni and Tamar were getting paid so much more than they were. Again, apparently this produced a great controversy, particularly for Toni, who argued she deserved to be paid more than any of them. Based on sources, at some time producers shut down shooting of the Braxtons following a furious dispute between the sisters, and it apparently got so bad that Toni stormed out and swore she was done. Toni also allegedly revealed that before Tracy died, they promised her they would get along. Yet no one is getting along and things have really become worse. Well, according on rumors, it's not even just about the money when it comes to Toni. She is simply done with all the drama we've been watching, like how there were allegations that none of the sisters attended to the premiere party of Tamar and Missy's cookery program. Apparently, a fierce disagreement occurred only 2 days before the debut, and it resulted to the sisters skipping the premiere. Next thing we know, Tawanda was out here writing cryptic remarks like, "To everyone who has separated themselves from me, please remain there." Tawanda also tied the married with her longtime companion, Sean Hall, in a small ceremony in Decatur, Georgia, after more than 9 years together. And although her sisters, Toni and Trina, stood at her side as bridesmaids, Tamar was obviously missing.
I respect where people are. I don't engage. I don't pour into certain types of energy. I make different choices in my life. And that's just where I am.
Now this is TV, Josh.
outside of yesterday and today, when was the last time you talked to me?
I don't recall. It wasn't my birthday because you didn't call me.
Your birthday's September, here we are in March.
Okay. We already know that the connection between Tamar and Tawanda is not ideal. And even while they were shooting the first season of the program, that was made apparent from the first season of the show, it was made evident from the first episode. Tawanda was asked how it felt not to have access to her sister Tamar. And before she could even answer the question, Tamar declared that Tamar doesn't care. Tamar then went on to claim that Tawanda makes more of an effort to keep in touch with Toni and Trina than with her, and she added that she normally reaches out to Tawanda first and that Tawanda only reaches out while they are shooting. It's our respect where people are. I don't engage. I don't pour into certain sorts of energy. I make diverse decisions in my life, and that's precisely where I am. Now this is TV, y'all. Outside of yesterday and today, when was the last time you spoke to me? I don't remember. It wasn't my birthday, since you didn't call me. My birthday's September. Here we are in March. On the other side, Tawanda also revealed that she was uncertain of the last time she talked to her sister, but she knew that Tamar did not reach out to her for her birthday in September, albeit they shot the episode in March. In fact, she looked to be so fed up with Tamar that she disclosed that she is solely focused on people living in her family, e.e., her children and her spouse. Well, with the sisters squabbling, people inevitably took sides, with some claiming they think Tawanda has long-standing problems with Tamar, while others argued that Tawanda is merely envious of Tamar's success. Basically, this has also prompted squabbles with the other family members, and supposedly, Toni is just done. And let's not forget how Tamar went on a breakdown before she shut her social media accounts, and she posted numerous explosive messages on her former page alleging that her family is poisonous. In her now removed postings about X, she stated, "Y'all have no idea, none. The gaslighting is awful, and I'm going back into therapy. OMG, I only hope that my marriage may be salvaged and my life can be spared. My family is nasty." She also commented in another thread, "I'm so upset with my life, my family is poisonous, I should have never gone back to BFV. Oh, and Tamar also recently banned Toni on social media, and Toni only found out that she was barred when she went to tag Tamar on her birthday. Toni claimed that she could have been banned by her sister when she said, "I wanted to repost the wonderful image of you, but I'm blocked again? Anyway, happy birthday, Tay." Well, on the other side, Tamar stated it was blatant gaslighting that Toni could have simply contacted her. Tamar subsequently revealed images of a text message thread between her and her sister in her Instagram story that showed them attempting to establish which city the other was situated in only a day previous. It's been one drama after the other, but I would want to have your view on how Toni was the breadwinner of the family for decades. Do you believe her family dried her up? Did they add to her financial troubles? I've even heard folks suggest that all the mental stress, did they add to her financial troubles? I've even heard individuals argue that all the mental stress may have caused Toni's incurable condition. But let me know your ideas in the comments area below. Hey, the revelation that Toni Braxton and Birdman secretly got married last year and then split up after 48 hours has me completely freaked out.
Are you guys a couple?
Well, T, that's my girl, my friend, my family.
Do you have sex?
That's my love, my soldier, my life. She my everything, and I trust her.
Because you bought her a Bentley truck.
Yes.
So the implication is that's your girlfriend.
She my life.
We can't possibly handle this drama at your advanced age, Miss Toni, so please step forward. Birdman too. Both of you are too mature for this kind of drama. What's even worse, you know. Rumor has said that Toni may have used the marriage and divorce as a means of extorting Birdman. Homegirl is Baroque, that is why. Baroque, it's so untidy, child, that I'm going to have to get you all seated. Here is some background information on their relationship and how it led to their marriage and subsequent 2-day separation. First of all, you should be aware that, much to the surprise of many, Toni and Birdman have been friends for a very long time. In June 2016, they made their relationship public. There were even speculations that they had eloped in 2017, but Toni put an end to such claims. In a 2018 interview with People, Toni did discuss their connection, revealing that they had been friends for a long time and that she never anticipated a romantic relationship. "He's been my closest friend for around 15 or 16 years," she remarked. "He has attended my performances, musicals, and baby showers. I never imagined that we would date or get married. It's reassuring to hear that you don't have to be Wonder Woman all the time and that it's okay to be sick." He would ask me, "Are you okay?" every night. "How are you?" "Oh my God, he's such a wonderful man," I said. "You never told me," until Birdman eventually made contact and said that he had always liked me. "Well, you were married," he says. "I was always digging you," he remarked. Now, Toni claimed she never had to pretend to have lupus around Birdman because he always understood, despite the fact that dealing with a condition that includes the ongoing risk of blood clots and pulmonary embolism can be emotionally, physically, and cognitively taxing. Birdman did ultimately pop the question, she said, and Toni even labeled pictures of the situation only a few minutes before and 24 hours after our engagement. In one picture, the pair was seen hugging as Toni's new rock was on full view, and in another they were seen snapping a selfie. Birdman was so enamored with Toni at the time that he even talked to Wendy Williams, assuring her that he loved her unconditionally and that Toni was his army, his life, his everything, and his love.
Are you guys a couple?
Well, T, that's my girl, my friend, my family.
Do you have sex?
That's my love, my soldier, my life. She my everything, and I trust her.
Because you bought her a Bentley truck.
Yes.
So the implication is that's your girlfriend.
She my life.
Toni also discussed the engagement, stating that they were on the verge of going on a date. 2 dates, really. However, they were going through some turbulence when they were practicing Braxton family values. "The wedding is a good thing to get all the sisters together," she said.
But there's no date.
There's no date. We almost had a date. Well, we had 2 dates, but we were doing Braxton family values and we were going through a little drama. And I was like, okay, the wedding is a good thing to get all of our sisters together. Yeah. But I couldn't get us all together. And I said, the wedding's not a good reason because it's messing up my relationship a little bit. He's like, come on, Michelle, set a date. I know.
That's what he calls you?
He calls me Michelle. Doesn't call me Toni at all. That's my middle name, Toni Michelle.
Yeah. Set a date.
Set a date. He said before the year's out, so I have, what, a couple weeks.
Couple weeks?
Yeah.
So he's 45, you're 51.
He's 49.
49.
40. Sadly, she was unable to bring them all together. You know, Toni also expressed her excitement about getting married in her interview with People, saying, "This is my second wedding and I'm over 40. It is comparable to the last bride over 40, Carrie Bradshaw. Therefore, I'm looking for something sophisticated and slightly sensual. The lovely belle dress was previously worn at my first wedding. I'd want something more vintage this time." Toni said that he wanted macaroni and cheese on her groom's must list, which was based after the Great Gatsby era. "To keep things looking nice, I suggested that we eat macaroni and cheese balls." Toni added that she would let Birdman choose the venue, saying, "We discussed Atlanta, but he declined because he didn't want any relics from my first wedding." Toni claimed that they kept rescheduling the wedding due to job obligations, but it was complete bullshit. The wedding never really took place. She had the option to wed the guy if she so desired. Recall that Toni said she left her $1 million engagement diamond in her checked baggage and lost it to apparent theft soon after this. Additionally, the whole incident seemed really suspicious. Before we knew it, the two had split up in 2019. At the same time, Birdman deleted all of Toni's photos from his Instagram account and posted a lonesome and mysterious "it's over" message. Toni, on the other hand, shared a photo of herself wearing a red gown and stated in the caption, "Choosing to be chosen is always the first step in starting a new chapter. Let's toast to the new year." However, after reconciling on stage at the Fox Theater during Toni's tour stop in Atlanta, Georgia, the two seemed to get back together a few weeks later. However, Toni dispelled marriage rumors in December 2023 by posting #false news on an Instagram post that said, "My dear friend at Birdman and I are not married. Never got married, both of us are unmarried. We are now learning that they were married, and that they split up only 48 hours after. As in, what the devil is happening?" First of all, Toni and Birdman simply used their initials, TB and BW, in court records that TMZ was able to get. Furthermore, it was easy to determine that the records were about Toni and Birdman, even though they most likely intended the specifics would stay under wraps. According to court records, Toni and Birdman were married in secret on August 8. Additionally, it states that they split up on August 10. 2 weeks later, Toni filed for divorce. Additionally, Toni and her lawyer described the marriage as irretrievably damaged in the documents. The issue has yet another narrative twist. Although they split up barely 2 days after their marriage, Toni denied the divorce in January 2025. Therefore, they are still legally married as of right now. However, I'm not sure whether they're a happy couple, kid. However, the rumors and indications point to the possible end of Toni Braxton and Birdman's relationship, regardless of their marriage's legal status. Both have removed pictures of themselves from their Instagram accounts, and neither has been seen wearing wedding bands lately. What I can tell you, child, is that this information has been making waves on the internet, particularly when it was revealed that Toni supposedly took a sizable sum of money from the divorce. I assumed Toni and that freak had broken up long ago, as one person said in a comment to the news, discovered that they were wed. Why, living legend Toni Braxton? Additionally, someone else said that Toni Braxton filed for divorce after becoming weary of the marriage. For spending so much money on their 1-month marriage, Birdman will have to reimburse her more than half of his income, which totals more than $160 million. Use 22 of the day's 24 hours to be afraid of women. Regarding Toni reportedly taking millions of dollars, we are well aware of her prior financial troubles. Do you recall when she was earning less than 35 cents each album? Despite allegations that she was making millions for her record company, Aristella Face. Toni even launched a lawsuit against her label, and 8 weeks after that, in January 1998, she declared bankruptcy himself. She then disclosed that she filed for bankruptcy as a result of problems with her recording contract, which resulted in her earning less than $2,000, 0 cents, in royalties, and having to pay back her record company for expenses related to clothing, travel, studio time, and music videos. To avoid paying back creditors in her bankruptcy case, Toni was accused of unlawfully transferring $53.49 to her husband, Carrie Lewis. She did the Oprah interview about the same time as this. Additionally, Toni Braxton found the interview to be very degrading and humiliating, believing Oprah to be judgmental, patronizing, and insensitive, despite her belief that it might elicit some sympathy for her financial predicament.
Welcome, Toni Braxton!
She was so freaking mean to me. I was in shock.
Do you take responsibility for the situation that you're in right now?
100%.
100%.
100%. I couldn't believe it because I loved her so much. I admired her and looked up to her. And she pretty much reprimanded me.
I read that you were upset about stories that your overspending caused this.
She says to me, I hear you have Gucci flatware. I'm Oprah Winfrey and I don't have Gucci flatware.
First of all, I didn't know Gucci made silverware.
You ain't got Gucci flatware because you didn't want to buy it. It's not because you couldn't afford it. What do you mean? And immediately, she made me feel this big. This big. That moment completely changed my career. It made people look down on me.
In any case, Toni filed for bankruptcy once again in 2010 after being forced to quit her lucrative engagement in Las Vegas due to a diagnosis of microvascular angina and then lupus.
Like a lot of people don't understand, my second bankruptcy was because I was sick. I have lupus, and my show in Vegas got canceled.
And the insurance wouldn't cover it.
The insurance didn't cover it, so I had to pay myself.
Yeah.
And so
That's a lot. That was a lot of money.
It was a lot of money to put up a show. People don't understand this. If you see a concert, you see the lights, you see the band on stage, the artist pays for all that. The hotel rooms, the salary, so then you have nothing left.
Additionally, Toni was experiencing additional financial difficulties in 2019 when, on December 4th, the IRS filed its first lien against her. According to the lien, Toni owes $340,252.99 in overdue taxes for 2017. A few days later, she was also slammed with a tax lien by the state of California Franchise Tax Board for more than $116,154.64 in unpaid taxes, which brought the total to over $500,000. Because of this, some people believe that the marriage and divorce were likely a money grab. I'm not sure. Perhaps it's part of the show's plot. However, whatever antics Toni and Birdman are now engaging in are just funny. However, whatever antics Toni and Birdman are now engaging in are just funny. For example, why do you suppose they were married and split up 2 days later? Was Toni trying to get money?